5, 4, 3, 2, 1, drop that.
Welcome to the TestGuild Performance Podcast, where we get together to learn more about performance testing and site reliability with your host, Joe Colantonio.
Here it is.
Hey, it's Joe, and welcome to the pre-show for the new TestGuild Performance and Site Reliability podcast. I just want to give a quick overview of what the show is all about, as well as how I think it could help you. For those of you that don't know, I'm Joe Colantonio from TestGuild, and I also have a podcast called Test Talks, which I recently changed to the TestGuild Automation Podcast. So for the past 5 years, I've been speaking with experts in the industry to cover all things automation related. In those years, I've covered topics around performance testing, but noticed that they are not as popular as the functional automation ones. I also got complaints from a few folks saying they didn't think that performance testing should be part of the automation show. I think automation is anything that can help a team do something quicker, faster, more reliably. And I think performance falls into that. But I understand some of the folks that have concerns and they don't necessarily really want to know about performance testing. I think, I don't know if you know Paul Grossman, but Paul Grossman told me he thinks that someone that does both functional automation and performance testing is known as a unicorn. I hope to change that. I think performance testing is a really critical piece of the software development process for testers, and that we need to start shifting it left in the software development lifecycle like we've done with the unit testing and integration testing and functional testing over the last couple of years. Also, to really target the right group and make sure I deliver what listeners expect, I decided to create this next show dedicated 100% just to performance testing instead of mixing topics all in one show. Also, to be completely honest, not sure if you know, I also have been hosting online conferences for the last 3 years. So I have one dedicated to automation testing called Automation Guild, one dedicated to security testing called Secure Guild, and one dedicated 100% to performance testing called Performance Guild. And I thought having this show would be a great way for me to meet new experts in the profession, the performance field, and learn more about performance testing myself. So when I host the conference, I'm a little more educated and hip to what's been going on, what's new, and be able to really facilitate those discussions a lot better. So it's also a way for me to force myself to keep learning. So that's another reason why for having the show, and also spreading that knowledge I'm learning with you. Because as I said, I think performance testing is still really critical and something important that all software engineers and testers really need to know about. So this really is going to help me to create better performance testing events, since I'll have more performance experts I can go to as speakers, and I will also know better topics to present that are popular based on experience, based on episodes listened. So I'm creating the best schedule for these events also. So not only am I having experts that seem to be resonating with people, but also topics that seem to be really popular that people want to know more about. Hopefully this, alternative motive will lead to more attendees, and more attendees mean more performance awesomeness that people are taking to their teams, helping them with their performance efforts. Also, it helped me create more blog posts, and so as people are searching for performance-related topics, they'll be able to find this on my TestGuild website. And once again, just helping spread this idea of performance really matters, more information out there to help people that are struggling with this particular area. So when I was pitching the idea for a podcast just to performance testing, a lot of people were saying, hey, there's not a lot of people doing performance testing. So why don't more folks do performance testing? Unfortunately, not many software engineering organizations are familiar with the needs of performance testing or even have the expertise to do it. Even worse, like most other shift-left testing efforts, hardly anyone is attempting to add this activity early enough in his or her software development lifecycle. Also, the lack of performance testing training seems to be a major roadblock that prevents teams from successfully executing performance testing is really a lack of training and education. Sometimes just knowing where to start can be a challenge. A lot of folks have told me also that, why is performance testing even needed? Especially when you have solutions like Amazon that can just scale up to infinity servers. So I've heard from a few folks who have told me that performance testing isn't needed because they can simply auto-scale their applications at runtime. But if you've done performance testing for any amount of time, you know that performance issues can't be solved by throwing more resources at it. Sadly, many companies realize this way too late, and sometimes with dire consequences like loss of revenue, lost customers, and lost confidence in their software. I think we can do better. So really the full name of this show is going to be the TestGuild Performance and Site Reliability Testing Podcast. I'll just probably call it the TestGuild Performance Podcast, but I think site reliability engineering is going to be a big component of this. We'll see how it evolves over time. For folks that don't know, software reliability engineering is a discipline that incorporates aspects of software engineering and applies them to infrastructure and operation problems. And really, the main goals are to create scalability and highly reliable software systems. That's one of the main goals of performance testing as well. And SRE, I think, came out of Google. So I hope to have some folks from Google talking about SRE. And it's basically their implementation of DevOps. And so for all these reasons, that's why I created the TestGuild Performance Podcast. So what can you expect? You can expect a new show every Monday. And most of the time, it'll be an interview type style where I'm interviewing an expert, real hands-on practitioners, real-world experts, or an author of a book, similar to what I'm doing on Test Talks. So if you've listened to Test Talks in the past, it's going to be the similar format. And episodes will last about 30 minutes or less. We also have an awesome sponsor, which is SmartBear. And I'm really excited about that. I started using SmartBear way back in the day when I was doing API testing using their product Soap UI. But they also have a really cool product out, brand new, called Load Ninja that really helps making performance testing easier. So really excited to have them as a sponsor and have them on board. They've already given me lots of support behind the scenes to help me get this up and running. So really excited to have them as a partner on this show. So as always, I'm always thinking of a community, and that's what the TestGuild's about. Everyone coming together to share a tip, tool, technique, or best practice that we can implement right away to help improve our testing efforts. So if you have a tip, tool, technique, or best practice you'd like to talk about that's performance testing related, send me an email at joe@testguild.com, and maybe we can get you on the show. So that's a quick overview of what to expect from the TestGuild Performance Podcast. These are my initial thoughts, but over time, it does evolve. Like Test Talks has evolved. I'm sure this podcast will evolve, and basically it'll evolve based on your feedback. So never be shy. Always reach out. If you have any questions, any concerns, any thoughts for improvements, just drop me an email at joe@testguild.com. So that's it for the pre-show of the TestGuild Performance Podcast. Hope you like it. As always, test everything and keep the good. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the TestGuild Performance Podcast. Head on over to testguild.com for full show notes, amazing blog articles, and online testing conferences. Make sure to subscribe to join the guild and continue your testing journey. This has been a Joe Calantonio production.